So we're going to keep in tandem with wide receivers, but we're going to go to tight ends specifically. And what we're going to talk about is there was a new report that came out because obviously T.J Hockenson, really good tight end for the Detroit Lions, and he was picked up for his fifth-year option. So he's got a little bit more time here in Detroit, but obviously the big question most Lions fans have is, when are we going to get him signed up for a long-term contract extension? We don't want to see him go away. He's actually a good player. We want to bring him in. And somebody actually put out a report, and they did some number crunching, and they said that if T.J Hockenson were to re-sign with the Detroit Lions, he would be making about $13.7 million annually per year if he were to sign a contract extension with them. So my question to you is, do you think that 13.7 mil is a fair enough number, or do you think it's too much, too little? What are your thoughts?
That seems like a good amount of money for a tight end to be making. Now, I don't want to sit here and peddle myself off as some analytical GM contract savant. I don't know. I don't know a thing about contracts. I will say this. The tight end spot, if you got an elite one, it's clutch. If you don't have an elite one, it's not great. But I've never thought about the tight end spot as a position where it's like you need one. You need one to compete. That said, having a good one is very nice. It's like a Jared Goff security blanket, the most cliche term in football. If they block, again, huge. A tight end that blocks versus a tight end that only catches passes, huge difference there. Bad contracts ruin football teams, though. Bad contracts ruin football teams. I don't know what the other biggest tight ends in the league make. I don't know what Kelsey makes. I don't know what Kittle makes off the top of my head. Do you?
If I recall correctly, Kelsey, I think, makes like $15.5 million a year. I think that's what he makes. And I think Kittle is roughly around the same ballpark. So he'd be up there like in the top 10, top 5 for tight ends. But see, here's the thing. And I've had this discussion with people outside of this discussion with you. And I've had people that say that they don't think T.J Hockenson's a top 10 tight end. And I'm like, I beg to differ. I really do beg to differ because in my mind, yes, he has had a problem staying on the field for the entirety of the season. But he plays more games than he misses every single year. It's not like he's out for more than half the season or something. And plus, on top of that, just like we were talking about with Amon-Ra St. Brown, if you compare T.J. Hockenson's statistics last year, he had 61 receptions. That was for 9th best out of all tight ends. His 583 yards, I think it was 16th best. So even in a down year, he was still a top 20 tight end in terms of production. So for me, it's 13.7 mil. Does that sound like a lot of money? Yeah, even for a tight end. But listen, if you take a look at what the Lions are going to be doing this season in the offense, the way the offense is set up, you got a whole bunch of outside wide receiver threats in Chark. You've also got Jameson Williams when he comes back. You can possibly throw Josh Reynolds and Cephas out there. You've got the running game behind you with with Jamal Williams and DeAndre. The middle of that field is going to be wide open, which is where T.J. Hockenson is going to make his money. That middle of the field is going to be wide open for him to just feast. So for me, listen, if you get all that settled and he does really well this year, then 13.7 mil, that just looks like chump change. It's like, here, take the money. We want you. I think for most people, they want to see more production out of T.J. Hockenson before we commit to some sort of a long-term massive deal like that. I'm a little bit more on faith, and I guess that's part of the reason why I'm not a GM, because I'm willing to just believe rather than see. But for me, listen, he had a full season with Matthew Stafford in his second year. He had over 700 yards receiving. He was one of the best tight ends that year. He had a Pro Bowl selection. Listen, he had a down year last year, but then again, practically everyone on the Lions had a down year. Let's see what he does this year. If he does well, then, by God, pay him the money. Please, keep him here. Let's not let another Ndamukong Suh walk out the door.
No doubt. And my biggest beef surrounding Hawk, it's not with Hawk. It's not Hawk's fault. My biggest beef with how the Lions manage Hawk is the fact that I do think he at least has the potential to be a top 10 tight end in the league, at least purely from his talent standpoint. And they just don't use him nearly as much as they should. Like, Travis Kelce and George Kittle and these tight ends, Gronk in his prime, these tight ends who become these matchup nightmares where it's like, this guy's unstoppable. Linebackers can't cover him. Safeties can't cover him. Those guys, why do they have those reputations? How do they get to that point? It's not because Travis Kelce gets the ball thrown to him twice a game. That's not why he has his reputation. It's because the Chiefs are like, hey, this guy's an absolute savage. Why don't we just give him the ball all the time? And for some reason, yeah, Hawk's been injured a little bit, but for some reason, in the duration he's been in Detroit, whether it's the new regime last year, even though he was better last year, or previously with Patricia, nobody has thought to be like, let's just give TJ Hockenson a lot. Let's give him the ball quite a bit, especially in a year like last year where, again, we just talked about Amon Ra. Like, he's no world beater. That's your next best option. How about TJ Hockenson? Why don't you just treat him like a wide receiver one? That's my biggest issue with it. So if they were to bring him in for the 13 and change, but now they're going, okay, maybe they need to do that to themselves, tie their hands a little bit and go, we're cashing a check on this guy. Let's make sure we get our money's worth. Let's get him the ball 6, 7, 8 times a game. Let's get it to him in the red zone. Let's draw up plays when it's 3rd and goal from the 6-yard line. Like, when you have a 6'4", 6'5", whatever he is, freak of nature who's fast and can catch, there's a reason those guys don't exist in the league. They're very rare. They're unicorns. So utilize them. And then the last part of it is, how good of a blocker is he? Again, I haven't studied the TJ Hockenson blocking tape. I haven't studied the analytics when he's trying to get an end or make a block on a linebacker. So I don't know if he's great at it, if he's terrible at it. I've never noticed him in a game to the point where I'm like, wow, Hockenson, you stink at blocking. I've never noticed him negatively, which is a good sign. But he could be below average for all I know. That'd be another key thing. If he can block, if he's one of the better blocking tight ends in the NFL, 13 is a lot easier to swallow. He's an extra offensive lineman, but it depends on a lot of things. I just wish whatever they do, if they do keep him around, that they would use him more, because it's like you're wasting gold. It's a shame.
And I agree with you to a certain extent. I will say this, to answer your one question, TJ Hockenson, when he started out as a rookie, obviously he wasn't that good of a blocker because it's hard to transition from the college to the pros. But every single year, if you at least check on PFF, his blocking grades have gone up. They've gotten steadily better. So for me, it's, listen, he's been in the league now for 3 years. He's going into his 4th season with the Lions. I think that paying him $13.7 million right now, before he potentially could ask for a lot more than that, because again, the way the NFL kind of works is, okay, this guy just got paid the highest contract. Now it's my turn to get paid. I think I deserve to be the next highest paid person at my position. Listen, I don't want to get into a bidding war over, I think I should be getting more than what Travis Kelce gets. I think I should get that $16 million contract as a tight end. No, listen, even though the production for some fans has not been as high as they would like, let's understand something here. The last couple of years, the Lions have been at an influx when it comes to the offense. We had Matt Patricia, and we were having guys that were going in and out of the lineup, whether they were leaving, doing free agency, they were getting traded, or just the team just didn't gel with Matt Patricia as the coach. Last year, we have a completely new offense, completely new system, new coach, new quarterback, everything. Of course, it's going to be a down year, folks. But the fact that he almost still had 600 yards in a down year, and he was one of the best contested catching tight ends in the league, it's, dude, I get it. You don't want to spend a lot of money. You've been burned by tight ends before with this team, but it's like, have a leap of faith, folks. Trust the process. Trust Brad Holmes. Trust what they're doing. I believe in Brad Holmes being able to make good decisions here. And Brad Holmes says he wants to bring TJ Hockenson back, so let's bring him back. Just make the financial situation work out.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a what?